Well, hello there, YouTube. It's funny, 2 Fridays in a row, I have not had electricity. It's almost like the state of Tennessee and the larger Nashville metropolitan area has an infrastructure problem. But that can't be the case. Our most handsome politicians are putting a ban on drag queens. So obviously, we have all that figured out. We're just, at war. It's part of the war effort. The war against drag shows. And they're rationing off my electricity to fight this war. Anyway, I didn't have electricity on Friday, which sucked ass. But they announced some Elden Ring DLC, and I'm finally getting around to making a video where I can talk about it. It would have been here sooner, but the power. Here's a video of me and Peeve, me and old Peeve Peeverson, invading the same fella, and just absolutely having a lot of fun with this guy. Peeve is on his assassin build, and I am on my level 200 quality build, which is hilarious. I actually got like 1 million clips of me and Peeve invading gank squads together, but I only recorded one, but it was hilarious. Look at this. Oh, perfection. Cinema. Just a pincushion, you know what I'm saying? Look at this guy. It's great. Absolutely fantastic. Okay, so they announced some Elden Ring DLC. It's called Shadow of the Erdtree. I would like to talk about that name. Shadows in Elden Ring obviously have multiple meanings, but I am hopeful that the word shadow will have some bearing on, light and preferably the sun. I don't know if you've noticed the sun in Elden Ring. It exists. It's just very, very small, very, very far away. And, celestial bodies in Elden Ring are an important part of the story and the lore, and they represent outer gods that exist outside of the lands between. And so DMC Redgrave, the fella who wrote that there Pale-Blood Hunt, one of the best lore documents of all time on Bloodborne, he had a theory that the sun was the, leader, the god that existed before the Erdtree and Marika and the Elden Beast and the Greater Will and the Golden Order. Before all that. So, like, back during the time of the, the ancient dragons, Plasudasax, for example, was Elden Lord. Well, who was... If Plasudasax was like, Godfrey, who was Plasudasax's Marika, right? Like, Marika is God. And Redgrave put forth the theory that it might have been the sun, talking about the Suncrest shield, talking about a few item descriptions in the game. So the idea that this thing is called Shadow of the Erdtree makes me hopeful that we will learn a little bit about the sun. That would be cool. A lot of people think that the art that they released is it's an image of Mikola on Torrent. I'm not so sure. To me, it seems like it might just as well be Marika on Torrent. And a lot of people think that the tree is covered in deathblight. But to me, I'm not so sure. To me, it seems like the tree is being swallowed up by some sort of dark entity that is coming up out of the ground. Something like the Elden Beast. So, while some people think that the image shows Mikola looking at a death-blighted Erdtree, I think it shows Marika watching as the Elden Beast took hold of the Erdtree, the birth of the Golden Order. Keep in mind, where you find Elden Stars, the spell, is very close to the roots of the Erdtree. And so if the Elden Beast came up out of the ground, all of that stuff falling off of it would not be death blight, but would instead just be like earth falling off as it came up out of the ground. Does it really matter? No, of course not. And we'll find out soon enough. But that was the first place my mind went to when I saw it. But now let's talk about what we might expect from the DLC. Perhaps you've never played, a Souls game as DLC was coming out. I would be happy to tell you what you can expect. What you think you're going to get direct answers to, you are not going to get direct answers to. You might get answers to them, but you also might not realize that that's what you're getting answers to. In Dark Souls 3, for example, there was a place in the lore called Londor, and everyone wanted to go there, and they thought for sure that we would go to Londor in one of the DLCs. We did not. We did learn about Londor in a roundabout sort of way, and I think that you were able to come up with some interesting theories about Londor based on what the game told us. They introduced a character from Londor, basically, without ever actually letting us go there. My point is, don't expect direct answers to the questions that you have, because you're not going to get them. Don't expect that. Another thing, if you're familiar with Souls games, you'll know that the DLC is going to introduce some absolutely busted new equipment. It's going to be insane. If you've never played a game like this before, in Dark Souls 1, DLC came out, and the DLC gave us a weapon called the Gold Tracer, which is a weapon that is so good, and this is Dark Souls 1, mind you, a very slow game compared to Elden Ring. But the Gold Tracer was so good that you could take it and you could put it in Elden Ring, and it would be a pretty good weapon. It would be pretty good. That's how good this thing was. And it was in Dark Souls 1 in the DLC. Okay? Dark Souls 2 gave us the Ice Rapier. Bloodborne gave us the Holy Moonlight Sword and the Beast Hunter Safe, as well as some other stuff. Dark Souls 3 gave us the Follower's Saber, as well as the Split Leaf Greatsword. A lot of weapons that were just absolutely busted. Okay, let's say that maybe you're familiar with that, all that, but maybe one thing you're not familiar with is what happened afterwards. Well, in the case of Dark Souls 3, the Split Leaf Greatsword and the Follower's Saber, those weapons were subsequently nerfed. So they stuck around for a little bit, and they did just a little more balancing in the game, with a couple extra patches to sort of take away some of the insanity of the Follower's Saber and the Split Leaf Greatsword. Unfortunately, they never touched the Murky Hand Scythe, and the reason probably being that From Software was not aware of what it was doing that was busted until it was too late. And the reason they were not aware was because the other weapon that shared that moveset had a very low drop rate, and so no one used it. But the Murky Hand Scythe could just be picked up. You didn't have to farm it or anything like that. So, you could just have it. So, my point being, they will absolutely introduce some bonkers new equipment, but it's also possible that they actually stick around and nerf some of it afterwards. So I expect that. I expect bonkers new equipment, and I expect them to balance around it, but it'll probably still be like best in class, like the Split Leaf. And yeah, there you go. That's what I expect. Insofar as like details and stuff, I have no idea, and I won't even guess. I'm just looking forward to it. Thumbs up, smile at the camera. Until next time, later y'all.